Today on the Chat and Chew Show,
This show, we're going to discuss three of the biggest mistakes that single women make.
Are you single, dating someone serious, or in a situationship? Whether you're taking a break or are knee deep in the dating game, today's show will help you to evaluate your strategy and prepare for the one. In this episode of the Chat and Chew Show, Betty will share with us the top 3 mistakes women make while dating. And just like you, Roxanne will be hearing this list for the first time, recalling her own mishaps as a member of the Single Ladies Club. Get ready, Chat Tribe, for one eye-opening discussion.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chat and Chew Show. My name is Betty.
And I'm Roxanne.
And we are glad you are here with us this morning. Well, I don't know if it's morning where you are. It is morning where we are. And we are just so excited that you have clicked on to join us. There are literally millions of podcasts and YouTubers out there. And that you clicked on this one, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Just so you know, this show is designed to empower you to do your relationships better. And we want to give you tips and tricks and tools and things to think about to help you navigate through relationships. If you think about this, every part of your life, there is a relationship in your life, right? And sometimes in those relationships, it can go really, really good. And then there are times when it can go south real quick. And so we want to be able to assist you. So let's just think about in your own life, what relationships you're in. So we always laugh like I'm a mother and a wife. I am an employee.
Mm-hmm.
My manager's getting on my nerves, but anyway, go ahead, Roxy.
I'm a daughter.
Okay.
And a sister and an auntie.
Okay. Good. But we're also in relationship with, the mailman. That's what I'm thinking of in my mind.
Yes, we are. And I'm in a relationship with my food delivery people. And also I'm in a relationship with my retailers who need to get my clothes here in good time.
Right. So, if you think about it, everybody is in a relationship, and we want to do relationships really, really well, especially our close relationships, because at the end of our lives, it's going to be the people that we've connected with that are going to be by us, and so we want that to be not a time when you're like regretting, I wish I had it, but we're spending our lives, just really, really enjoying each other, and so that's what this show is designed to do. Well, if you are listening to this in February of 2021, you know that this is the time when we celebrate love. And we're talking in particular Valentine's Day. And so we want, this is just Roxanne and I. We don't have a special guest because this show, we're going to discuss 3 of the biggest mistakes that single women make. Stay tuned. So today we just want to talk about and tackle some of the 3 of the mistakes. There's tons more, but we're just going to highlight 3 of them. And the person that we're going to interview is Roxanne. And Roxanne, you want to just tell us your story, where you are on the whole dating story?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it. So I am divorced. I've been divorced for it's going on 5 years now, which I cannot believe.
I cannot believe it.
Time flies. And so here am I, still dating and still trying to find the right one after 5 years. And let's be real, it hasn't been like I've been looking for 5 years. Of course, it's been like healing time and all of that. So I would say probably for now, like 3 years, I've been trying to figure that whole dating thing out. And I think the first year, it was just how to get my feet wet and like like what do you wear? Because I was also like married and like in the church and everything. And not that church is not good for dating, but it's like you don't think like how do I dress to attract another man, like a man?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, okay, when you're dating, don't put on that sweatsuit and like go everywhere in it. Cause I'm definitely like a cute and comfortable dresser. Like I'm not the one who always walks around in heels and everything. So I would say like 1 year was just figuring that stuff out. And then I had like a couple of years of just figuring out what I really want. And that's been trial and error of
Mm-hmm.
just dating people and being like, oh, this is nice at first. And then going, oh wait, I don't like that thing there. Okay, let me add it to my list, and then and refining that list. I don't have a huge list, but it's just really understanding what's important to me. I had to learn some of that while being in a relationship with people.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So just some of the ways that you've been dating. Have you been like, because we're in a pandemic right now. So are you feel comfortable sharing?
I have done the online dating thing, and if you have seen some of our episodes from season one, you'll hear some of my horror stories. Uh, and that was probably like my getting my feet wet phase.
Okay.
And then I did meet someone in person, in live and in person before COVID, which I didn't think could happen anymore because it was just like, how do you meet people?
Yeah.
Days with everyone on the phone and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and that was like a good experience as well, and
Mhm.
learned a lot there. And then I have actually had people slide into my DMs on.
So if you've seen the show this month, you know what slide into DMs mean.
Yes. So I was feel it made me feel kind of young. I felt like, oh, okay, I'm like keeping up with everybody because somebody slid in my DMs.
DMs.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. I think I've had to learn to just be open, and then have my own way of just kind of vetting people because
Yeah.
because they are coming from so many different channels now.
Yeah. 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 So would you say that you have dated been in a relationship? This is pre-married, married, and then post-married, that with healthy guys, would you say?
No, but I would say because no. I would say it's a no, a harsh no, but I also think part of it was like me not knowing myself too,
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing where I was unhealthy. So I feel like their relationships, pre-marriage, and then a little bit during, like a little bit part of my marriage too, where it was our dysfunction that attracted us to each other,
Oh, wow. Okay.
right? And so it's like we work well because we can these dysfunctions mesh well, and it's like we're together on this. And then when I got started to grow and get healthier and reflect, it's like, oh, this is not good. This is, first of all,
Mm,
it's not healthy for me to be this way. And then it opens my eyes to understand why I'm attracted to those people. And
mm,
then think about, okay, where do I go from here? Because, it's not always like you have a discovery or revelation, and then you go, okay, I gotta leave you because I just learned something new about myself.
right, right.
But it took like me growing and learning how to just be healthier with myself.
Mm,
And then it was a series of setting boundaries, and then the
mhm.
people kind of fell off that
Okay.
way. Because it was like the like people who were unhealthy were like not willing to go along with those boundaries. And
Mm,
that's how I learned, oh, okay, so we really were together because I was dysfunctional in that way. I was dependent on you in this way.
wow.
Like either I needed your validation, I needed something that
Mhm.
wasn't healthy for me to want.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that I don't need that anymore, we actually don't work.
Mm, wow. That seems pretty scary. Because you want to be in a relationship, and then you discover something, you're like, I have to make a move right now. I have to either stay or leave, right? And
Mhm.
then a lot of times people just stay, and then they're miserable, or it gets worse and worse and worse and worse until it's knocked down, drag out, and you're like, I should have left 10 years ago, kind of thing. So that's pretty brave of you that you're like, okay, it's time to make some decisions and move on. All right, so let's get to these big mistakes. The first mistake that a lot of single women make, and you kind of alluded to this already, they don't love themselves first. They are looking outside for someone to fulfill them. Do you remember that movie? I forgot what it was called, but he was like, "You complete me."
Oh, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. And it's like we all fell for that.
Mhm.
So then we all started living life as a half a person, waiting for this other half to come and to fulfill us and to complete us. But that could never happen.
I,
That
yes, that you. First of all, you came out the gate swinging. You didn't want to start off with something. You don't love yourself. Okay.
I know, really.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true, though. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm gonna those phrases like I'm gonna find my better half,
Yeah.
and all of that. And it's like, no, you need to be whole. Find
Yeah.
a whole person.
Yeah.
And
Now here's the thing. All of us have baggage that we're gonna bring into a relationship. All of us have holes in our souls.
mhm,
But I don't think that a person can fulfill that for you. So, for example, if you are a woman who you struggle with body image
mhm,
and you have pain around that, when you invite someone into that, you're going to invite them into your pain. And he's never going to be able to tell you you look good enough. No, you're not fat, or you're not skinny, or you're not tall, or you're not this. But because you got pain around that, you're looking for them to solve that. They cannot. So,
mhm.
as Iyanla says, you got to do the work.
Right. And it's exhausting for that person, right? Because they have to keep feeding that insecurity that you have. And I know one thing, when I was in relationships, when I didn't love myself, it was also hard for me to take criticism. So you know how you have to have those discussions with your mate to just compromise and figure out how you guys work together.
Mhm.
So it's like if he would say, I don't like, when you do this, it meant you don't like me as a whole person, and like I'm nothing. And it just went so far in my
Yeah.
head. But it was because I didn't love myself enough to just take, criticism at face value. Like,
Mhm.
no, it's like, oh, I don't like, this meal tonight. Oh, I can't cook at all. I just
Right.
I just don't like potatoes. That's all.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. It wasn't like you can't cook. Right.
so it's
Yeah.
it's exhausting for your partner to want them to complete you.
Yeah, yeah, it's exhausting. Like again, you working on and loving yourself means that I look at every part of who I am, personality, my craziness, my whatever, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the person that I am right now. Hopefully, if there are things in our lives that are not healthy, that we're working toward changing them, but you got to be okay with who you are.
Mm.
I think some of this comes with age too, and I could be saying that because I've noticed how I am at this age than when I was 30 years ago. Like 30 years ago, I mean, I had so many holes in my soul, but as I've gotten older, I think I've learned how to like, you know what, this is me. I can't be anybody else. Their job that's taken. I can only be me, right?
Yeah.
So I think again, one of the biggest mistakes is as a single woman is that you are not loving yourself. Loving yourself also means that you're not waiting for someone to go buy a house. You're not, I need to be in a relationship before I go do this. Or I want to go on a trip, or I want to enjoy this, but I got to have a man to go, those kinds of things. So not just loving yourself, like loving your personality and how you look, but also loving yourself enough to do things that you enjoy.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that, like definitely, because I also find too that when you do those things for yourself, it raises your own standard of what you'll accept from a mate
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
Because if you're waiting on them and like you're not doing these things for yourself, whatever they give, you're like, oh, he finally came and gave
Yeah.
me this trip. And it could be a trip to somewhere you never wanted to go
too.
Right.
Because somebody came along and gave you something,
Yeah.
you're excited, and he gets points for just doing, this bare minimum thing that's not
Yeah.
even catered to your personality.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you're doing things for yourself, and you know what it's like to be cared for, even if it's you caring for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
when someone else comes and it's not that, it's,
Yeah.
you'll feel it, like you're a little more sensitive to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the advice I would give you, if you're like, well, I don't really know where I'm at. I do love myself. I think, why don't you just sit down, and I'm old school, get a pen and paper and just start writing down things that things you enjoy by yourself, things you enjoy doing. Forget about, I don't have the money, or forget about all of that. Just start writing down, what you enjoy. So at least you can have it in front of you.
Mhm,
Like, I enjoy this about me. I'm funny. I can cook,
mhm,
or I'm a good friend, or I'm a good listener. Just start writing down, what you're good at and what you enjoy, and be okay. This is who I am, and I think that'll help solve the problem. All right. Mistake number 2, that single women oftentimes will block or sabotage a relationship. So a guy comes along and he's a good guy and he's like showing interest, and you carry this, I don't need no man,
mm.
right? Like, it's like, hi, I don't know what guys do now, but let's just say, because hi, can I have your number? You're like, what you want my number for? Right? What is that? What is that?
Wait, or he looking
Like,
at you across the room, and you're like, "What you looking at? Like, why you?"
so the thing, what you're giving off says to them, oh, she don't want to be bothered. Do you remember when we did our live show, and we had Bridget, and Bridget was talking about how a lot of times the look on your face, like if you're walking around smiling, that's attractive, but if you have like a scowl on your face, then that's unattractive. It's the same kind of thing. You want to present yourself in a way that, see, I'm really old school, that you're not a floozy,
Not a floozy.
but you're open.
Could you explain floozy for the audience, please?
See, I get it. I'm just like so old school. I just think as a female, you should present yourself in a way. See, I know people they're gonna be like, "You so old fashioned." I think you should see. This is me now left at myself. I think you should present yourself in a way that how you want to be respected. I'm gonna leave it there. I can't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say be open and friendly, I'm not talking about be open and friendly. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm single.
Not putting everything out there.
Right, right.
Yeah, there was a survey done. This was on the radio, but this is like maybe a year ago. They were talking about, they did like a survey to ask men, where it's like, would you be more like, if in real life, not looking
Uh-huh.
for stuff, but in real life, what's more attractive? A woman that's showing more of her skin and all that, or a really well put together woman, just from head to toe? and the majority actually said someone who's well put together from head to toe.
Okay.
It wasn't the skin necessarily. It was like the fact that she cared for herself, and really had, nice matching outfit, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. And I didn't think skin, like, yeah. But I know I'm old, and things are, different and change. But yeah, so you want to be careful with that. You don't want to block and self-sabotage. My husband was scrolling on Facebook the other day, and I was sitting next to him, and he was like, "What is this?" And I leaned over, and it was a woman who had her butt up in Facebook on, on the screen, shaking her butt. And he was like, I don't know, defriend her, block her, whatever. She was an older woman. And I thought it was so weird that you would be on Facebook shaking your butt.
Man.
So my thought is, to me, it's another sign of sabotage. If she wanted to be in a healthy, loving, caring relationship, would her significant other want her shaking her butt on Facebook? Or what kind of person is she attracting that's like looking at her shake her? Roxanne, it was crazy. Shaking her butt on Facebook. Again, that's another way of self-sabotage. There ain't no good man out there. Well, I don't know if your man wants you shaking your butt on Facebook like that.
That's real. That's real. And it's unfortunate because I think people do what they see a lot of, and they do it and then think about it later. Um, but yeah, it's real.
You ain't thinking about it later because if you did, you would have took it down.
Well, there's that. There's that.
I don't know. Again, I feel like if that was my husband shaking his butt on the Facebook, I'd be like, what the?
I know. And unfortunately, there's a culture of that does exist, unfortunately, that she is not the only one.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't come in my feed. So I don't see
Me
what
neither. I'm like,
okay.
when I'm like, oh, if I do, I'm like, oh, I need to unfollow you. Because there's some stars that do that. That's because there's some actually some really big artists that do that I follow just because I like their music, right?
Yeah.
On Instagram. And then it's just like, okay, there are too many like butt shaking videos. I'm gonna have to unfollow you. I really like your music.
Right.
I just don't want to see your butt every time.
Every time. Right.
I just wanted to know what was behind that song you wrote.
And now I know it's your butt shaking. No. But to me, that's another form of self-sabotage because a good man don't want to see his woman's butt on Facebook shaking like that. You know. Another way that single women self-sabotage, they get a good man, they've never had one before, and they treat him like dirt.
Yeah.
And they do every single thing they can. See, I knew you wasn't gonna stay. I knew you was because you treat me like dirt. You say anything to me, you talk to me like I'm your child, or you try to treat me like I'm your girlfriend and not your boyfriend. Guys and girls are different when it comes to, relationships. And that's another way of self-sabotage. And you may not even know that you're doing it.
Yeah, it's like a part of you that's like, this is going to end somehow. So let me speed it up. So
right.
I don't want to be in control of it.
Yeah.
Let me speed this up and end it because I don't want to get, too excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Work out. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're still carrying baggage from the former relationship. Yeah. You're in a new one now. And so now you think all guys function like your past guy did. Yeah. And so now you're going to treat, you're not going to treat me like this one did. So before you start that, then I'm going to start treating you some kind of way. You know what I mean?
And I think that's why it's important to heal from past relationships.
Yeah.
Like before you go looking. I mean, sometimes we stumble upon a new one and if we weren't looking, it just comes. But I think it's important to have an idea of what your triggers are.
Yeah.
Okay, when someone starts doing, that's a trigger for me.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe instead of me treating you like the person who did that to me, I actually have the conversation with you. Hey, this is a trigger for me because so I don't want to treat you that way.
Yeah.
But just in case I slip into my old habits, I let you know this is a trigger for me.
Yeah.
So that way you're not controlling that other person's behavior and treating them like the previous person.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you open up a space where you can grow out of that as well. And they can be accountable.
Yeah. I think you said something that's key, and this can be difficult if you didn't grow up like this. Communication is going to be huge. Yeah. When you notice something, then be able to talk about it. Even if you don't have the words to express it or the language, just to be able to get it. I don't know why I feel this way when at least you're getting it out. You're not holding it back. Again, because all of us want to be in a healthy relationship with somebody that we love, that loves us, that we cherish, that cherishes us too. And you don't want to go into it like a bulldozer knocking them over, right? Because that's not going to stand. You want to be able it to be strong in the stand. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's not that person, it's us. You know what I mean? It's it's how we act in the thing, you know.
Yeah. And
I
we
know for me, I'm like, I will shut down in a minute. And I have to be aware of that. Like anything, I don't like conflict at all. Like nothing. You left a sock on the ground. Oh no. I don't want to confront it, you know. So I had to recognize that about myself and be able to say, hey, you know, give me a moment, you know, and be able to say, this is how I feel, this is what I think, or accept criticism, you know, instead of shutting all the way down. So figure out what your thing is, or what, like you said, what some of the triggers are, so you can notice it, you know, and be healthy. Sometimes you need outside help to help you recognize yourself. So I'm all about therapy.
Yes, me too. Talk it through.
Yeah.
Like you, so you need that person. You can be like, is it me or or was that, like not good? Because I think that's good whether you're in a healthy or especially if you're in an unhealthy relationship, to just get outside of your own head sometimes and
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
that conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, these thoughts are coming in my head as you're talking about, like, your self-sabotage is hard to recognize. So I just wanted to talk through a few things that could be self-sabotage. And so Roxanne, you could give us some things too. So a guy opens the door for you and you're like, what you holding the door for me for? Right? You know? Or a guy offers to, like, he's gonna take the tab and pay for dinner. This may not be a big deal, but then you're like, what you think I don't have any money? I mean, every time he tries to do something, you got something to say about it.
Yeah.
That's one way of self-sabotaging.
Yeah, you don't want him to take up space because then if he goes, then you're like, oh, you don't want to have to miss him.
Right, right, right.
That's really what he is. Yeah. Also, if you want to know examples of self sabotage, you could watch any Tyler Perry movie. He has. I mean, seriously, literally, like all his
All
movies
his movies.
are about women self sabotaging. um, but what's another? I think another one is, back to that communication is not talking. So, like, shutting down is a form of self sabotage. Like, when you get to a point where it's getting kind of serious
Mm-hmm.
and you go, and for some reason, you just disengage with the person
Mm-hmm.
that you're dating. They're
Mm-hmm.
perfectly good person. You enjoy yourself, but you feel the emotions and decide to disengage.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't respond to their text messages anymore. You don't call them back as quickly, or you actually actively look and ignore
Mm-hmm.
their messages, so
Mm-hmm.
to make sure they know that they don't have you like that. They don't have,
Right. That's self-sabotage.
uh,
It's weird. You like the guy. You
mhm.
want him to know he have you, but you don't want him to know he have you all like that.
Yes, yes. Or you don't express your feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe you wait to express your feelings, and it's maybe somebody who's obviously cares for you and maybe has told you how much they care, and you
Mhm.
refuse to return the
Mhm.
favor, and you like them.
Right.
Because if you say it, maybe it's too real if you actually tell them, I
Yeah.
care about you.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's the worst that can happen? I mean, I know you can have a broken heart if it doesn't work, but just think about the love that you've missed by spending the energy not trying to build a relationship. You know,
Yeah.
you experience love. I mean, all of us have had heartbreak, you know.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think you just miss so much. You grow in,
Yeah.
it too. So
Yeah, and I heard someone say, like one of those like relationship therapists say, you're human beings, you're going to hurt each other. Even in a perfectly healthy relationship, you're going to hurt each other. If you want love, understand it just comes with that cycle of getting hurt, communicating, getting over things,
yeah,
getting hurt, communicating, getting over things.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's part of the cycle. So if you're if you're cutting yourself off from love and a good relationship thinking you're saving yourself from getting hurt,
yeah,
you're really not. Like you it's worth the risk, essentially.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
want it at all.
Yeah. That's good. All
Yeah.
right. So far, two things. Three mistakes that women make. The first one we said is not loving themselves or looking for someone outside to complete them. The second one we said was self sabotage. Now, the third one, and this is, I'm gonna have to explain it, that you even doubt that a good person can come into your life. Like there's this thing in the back of your head, like there ain't no good people around, and so for me this probably sound weird, but when you carry that with you, you're not attracting you
Yeah.
know good people to you, because you have this like unbelief, that this could not really happen for me.
Yeah, and you're putting that energy out there. It's
Hmm.
again that the power of the mind, and
Hmm.
you may not even notice that you are adjusting your own behavior
Hmm.
to fit that belief.
Hmm.
So if you think, oh, there's no good guys out there, then like I honestly, I think I had a period where I felt that way. Right, there's no good guys out there.
Hmm.
Well, because I thought that way, the guys that I noticed were the not good guys. You know what I mean? Like I like in my mind, I'm like, there are no good guys out there. Or actually, I'm sorry to be more specific with mine. I always thought there was this certain kind of guy who was always gonna try to talk to me. It was gonna be this
Mm.
guy that always just, wanted one thing and wasn't trying to commit and blah blah blah. So
Hmm.
guess who I always noticed?
Yeah.
Guy. Like
Yeah.
I could walk in a room and be like, oh yeah, I know he's gonna, but I would ignore the guy who would come up and have a regular conversation,
Yeah.
be very interested in
Mhm.
what I had to say and all of that. And I would actually not recognize that he was striking up a conversation because he was very interested. And my
Mhm.
friends would have to tell me afterwards, he really likes you, right? Or
You're
and
like,
I'm like, what? And like everyone can see it but me, because in my mind, I'm like, I know the kind of guys that, try to talk to me.
yeah, yeah. Oh wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
It's like when you buy, like if you, I don't know if this ever happened to you, like if you bought a car, like a certain color car, like if, or a certain make and model, once you start driving that car, then you notice all of those cars, right? Like, oh shoot, that's a red Honda like mine. That's a red Honda like
yeah,
mine, kind of thing.
I
And it's the same kind of thing. You carry that with you. That's what you're going to start recognizing. And that's what you're
yeah,
going to notice. You
yeah,
know,
I call them mental hashtags.
ah, I like
Yeah.
that.
So it's like if you have like that hashtag, hashtag, all guys suck, then you're gonna find all guys
All the
that
guys that suck. So then that means that, so to change that, you got to do something called reframing.
hmm
And that means that you're going to be changing the dialogue that's in your head around whatever yours is. If it's like there is no good man out there, or every man cheats, or every man only wants one thing, kind of thing. You got to start changing the dialogue that's in your head, around that. And it's not easy to do.
Yeah, and I think though, if you tie all three of these things together, you do find yourself in a better headspace. Because one of the things that helped me a lot after divorce and going through that, okay, what am I looking for right now? Was when I learned to love myself. I kind of got this idea of like, okay, wait, people always say I'm looking for love, I'm looking for love.
Mm-hmm.
But when I learned to love myself, I kind of got this idea. I felt like, no, I am love.
Mm.
I'm looking for companionship,
Mm.
right? And so if you change the idea of what that person has to be for you,
It's good.
then you don't have to put so much of a harsh meaning on like what guy all guys are this or all guy all that meaning doesn't have to go behind
Mhm.
a man
Yeah.
like you going out and looking to find someone to be with.
Yeah.
um, so I think that's part. So putting the three of them together, I think this is a great list, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, I didn't know this list until Betty told me. so so I'm discovering with you. But yeah, this is a great list because I think if you put those three together, then you feel better about yourself. you know what you need, and then you have a better idea of what you're looking for
Mhm.
when you go out, and I think you'll put that energy out. Like loving yourself and being filled with love yourself is a great energy to put out.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
don't even have to focus on what that other person is doing.
Yeah. 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 If I could, I would have added another thing too, along with that. The list is also being vulnerable, I think, is another thing, especially like Black women who've had to fight, and we got to make it, and we got to raise the kids, and we got to do this, and we're perceived as being super strong, and so that's what we carry with us too. And
Yeah.
so when you are around, you're trying to attract a guy, and you're trying to act like a guy yourself, that could be another big mistake too. But
Yeah. I had to learn that, like, being able to ask for help and letting other people do things.
yeah,
Because also, that guy is like, okay, what does she need me for? She does everything.
right. Right. I'm trying to like at least open the door for her. She's like, I don't need you to open the door for me. I got a hand.
He's like, why am I here? I don't know.
Right. Right. And, I think with all of this too, like we said, reframing is one of the things, but unlearning how
Hmm.
we do relationships, how
Yeah.
we done relationships. So how did it work for you in the past? How you
Yeah.
have done relationships? If it didn't work, then let's make some adjustments
Yes. Yeah.
going forward.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah.
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 Sometimes you need a friend to tell you need to adjust that, or a therapist to tell you. "You need to adjust
That's good. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Well, three mistakes that single women are not going to be making anymore. And again, February is the month of love. And I think the biggest takeaway from today's show is loving yourself,
Yeah.
you know, figure out figure out what that is. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And you want to tell people where they can find us?
Sure. You can find us at Chat and Chew Show on Instagram and on Facebook. And also, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can go ahead and subscribe and also press the bell to get notifications when we have new episodes that come out. And if you haven't already, share it with a friend because other people need to see this.
Mhm. All right. Thank you. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.
All right. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by the Chat and Chew Company. Host Betty Jones, co-host Roxanne Brew, producer Vanessa Outland, and music by Elwood Jones.